Hello, Aries. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. Apollo was hiding. He just came out for a second. I'll bring him up at the end. Really great to see you. So many messages coming through today. I'll give you a sneak peek. This is part of the reason that I'm starting right on time. A lot of times I'll show up a couple minutes early, but I really wanted to allow for all the messages to come through, and it sometimes takes me a while to find the right words and the right kind of placement for everything. So I'm excited to, again, talk about all of that here in just a second. I'd like to take a moment first to just give a proper introduction. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and this is for the sign of Aries. We'll be looking at the month of October. You can use it for your sun, your rising, and for your moon sign. You can also watch on behalf of someone that you care about in your life. The way that I structure this is that for those of you that are watching this live, it's very probable that you will also be receiving information and guidance for the here and the now, and also kind of taking you into the month ahead. So anywhere between, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks, depending on when you're watching this. So take a look at that and understand that you're constantly creating and making decisions. And I believe that free will is a part of this. So I'm really here to try to help you make those great choices. The way that I organize the reading is in 4 major parts. We'll begin with the psychic download, which is what I have in front of me. And that comes through dreams, through meditation, and also through automatic writing. So I will bring forth all of those messages first. Then we'll move into the Celtic Cross. And this will give us some of that more sort of tangible and even strategic information that will help you make some of the great decisions in front of you for the month ahead. And after that, we'll expand it and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And then after a quick review, we'll go into a soul path portion where we go a little bit past worrying so much about, again, environmental things or relationships. And it's more sort of like on the core, on the soul. What do I really need to do to get to the next level, to get past some of my blocks? So that'll be sort of deeper soul-based energy, thus the name soul work. And we'll integrate everything with a meditation and a sound bath after that. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get started. I'd like to begin also just by mentioning Maria and Ryan are my moderators. So if you have any general questions, they're great at answering that and pointing in the right direction. The way that I handle Super Chat is that you're more than welcome to show support with that, this little icon here right next to the emojis. And the Super Chat functions in a way that you can basically help me continue to use new decks. And actually, I think this is the first time I've used this one with you. For those that are asking, it's Tarot de St. Croix, and this is on my website, a link to that. But anyway, I buy new decks with your help. I actually have a new one that I'll be using for some other signs this month too, which is exciting. I didn't have a chance to shuffle this one and get it ready, but Tarot of the Divine. So you guys have been great in allowing me to sort of continue to upgrade my selection of decks here. So if you like what you see and you want to give back and you want to see some new supplies, you can do that through Super Chat. If you're watching it on replay, there's a new option called applause, and I don't have a sheet with the icon, but it's like a little heart, I think. You can use that as well. All right, let's get started. So last night, Spirit was very busy kind of giving me dreams and messages. It felt like every couple hours I was waking up and I tap stuff in my phone and then go back to sleep. And that's part of the way that I will gather some of your messages. And then again, the rest of them this morning, I tried to kind of put it together in a tapestry that makes sense for you. I saw a lot of shadows from the past. And I think that this makes sense because, of course, we're looking about a month ahead here in October. October's powerful because there's a retrograde period. And of course, there is Halloween, and it's right on the heels of the Day of the Dead. So we have a very thin veil, plus we have a retrograde cycle. And I think it's natural and normal then for a lot of sort of spiritual energy, and even sort of, for some of you, it could be nostalgic thought processes kind of kicking in for the next, 45 to 60 days. As this happens, you may feel triggered. Sometimes you might be looking at things that have been going on in your life, and you could be critical of those cycles, thinking, why is this always happening? Or why did that happen and not this? And what my guides were showing me is that we're defined not by our past. We're influenced by it, but we're not defined by it. So if you could think of it as a point of reference or a point of genesis rather than the end all and be all, that's a very good beginning for what's coming through for the month. So look at this as something that if we are moldable, for instance, we can continue to mold ourselves past the sort of influences and energy from our youth. So bless and release whatever was, Remember that we are creating tomorrow right here, right now, as you're watching this reading, actually. This is the most important moment because it's now, and because in this moment, you're deciding what you're doing next. So when you embrace this concept, you'll start to create a new momentum in your life. Now, I went into the etymology of this, and the word is actually about movement. It's from a Latin-based word. But if we focus on it, I don't think it's coincidental that we actually have in momentum moment. And if you kind of think of making decisions each and every moment, moment to moment, this is how you can create, redefine, and also, I would say, construct a new reality for yourself. And it's a lot easier to think of it as, if I do this, then this, then this. Like, you can just kind of like take it a second at a time, a minute at a time, an hour at a time, rather than trying to sort of like consume this gigantic goal that's in front of you of like, oh, how am I going to get this done? And that's how I go after every single sort of problem or opportunity or project. And I'm working on one right now that I'll be talking more about in a month. And part of that, it involves like a lot of little tiny moving pieces. So rather than feeling overwhelmed by the whole, I focus on a couple of things at a time. And sometimes what I notice is, just like if you clean your house, you start with the table, then you move over to the corner, then you move into this part of the room. Pretty soon the whole room looks amazing. But if you look at the whole room and try to just kind of go around randomly, nothing gets done. So know that each and every moment, each and every decision can be freeing. They can create a sort of momentum and movement that you wouldn't expect if you just allow yourself to take the first step, like the Fool, right? So bless the past. It's going to be coming through in dreams and meditations, and maybe even in your everyday life, kind of like a Eight of Cups moment where someone from the past is coming back. And this is your chance to release, resolve, forgive, and move forward. There was a lot of sort of shadow energy that came through as I was meditating. And again, that makes sense based on retrograde, Halloween, All Saints, All Souls Day, Day of the Dead, all that stuff, which is kind of, some of that's in November, but it's all kind of leading up to that. So this is basically a death and rebirth month where you get to sort of reinvent yourself. And I always think that that's exciting. In the sort of realm of that, I want you to, in your meditation, imagine that you could walk into a theater, literally. Back in the radio days, there was something called theater of the mind. So you would listen to voices and sounds and you would conjure up the images in your head. We still do that through meditation. We still do that through daydreaming, but I would say our projection skills aren't what they used to be. So what you can work on this month is going into that quiet space, turning off your television, turning off your phone, meditating, putting some noise canceling headphones on if you have to, because I know a lot of us are in situations where there's more family members around us. So kind of like find a quiet space, and instead of being afraid of that darkness or that emptiness, remember that that's the energy of creation. When the universe began, there was this compressed energetic ball, but there was all this sort of emptiness around it. And that explosion started to fill that. So sometimes there has to be a state of rest or stasis or even quiet before things get exciting. So give yourself that time to go into the theater of your mind. And what you can do this month while you're kind of doing some housekeeping and thinking, what is taking residence up here? Is it just, a bunch of TikTok things that I've been watching? Is it the latest novel? Is it a bunch of news? What's going on up here? How can I clear it, reprogram it, and start to project with power some things that I want to do? So go up there, do some housekeeping, and reprogram and decide, like, what am I really projecting to the world? Is it a thought of power? Is it a thought of fear? Whatever it is, I want to try to kind of imagine like I'm a movie projector pushing out something. Even if you can't see the physical energy of that light and that energy coming out, it's the same as that projector. As I said, the echoes will come in to teach you. So what you can do, if you're going up into your headspace in meditation and you see something, clear that out so it doesn't get in the way of your ability to project. So a lot of the sort of energy in retrograde is coming through so that you can be clearer, be more effective. And what you can do as these things come through, and it happens whenever you meditate, is to look and see, why are they coming through? They're reflections. They're not haunting you. They're actually trying to teach you. So if you see the same thing in your head or hear the same thing or have a sort of an energetic impulse as you're meditating, then I want you to honor that and look into it after you're done and think, all right, in order for me to go deeper into my meditation, I've identified something that I need to look at. So rather than beat myself up because I can't meditate, now I know that this is something to resolve. Pretty soon you'll get to that place where you can just be quiet, then new things will come in. So housekeeping first, then quiet, then the downloads. The big sort of energy this month is really about integration and elevation. And my guides use movies as points of reference for me, sometimes songs as well. And this month they were showing me a couple of reference points. One of them, for those of you that were growing up maybe in the 80s, you remember The Dark Crystal, the original motion picture. They have something on Netflix now that's sort of like a serialized version of it. But I'm going to use this one as a reference point. If you've ever looked at it, first of all, if you haven't, you should check it out. Again, it's on Netflix now, I think, and you can rent it or stream it. It's a really cool Henson production with Muppets, but some cool practical effects too. One of the basic ideas in the movie is that an elevated or ascended energy was fractured. And I feel like a lot of times our reality, this dimension, is a little bit fractured, because I do believe there are certain dimensions that are all light, all dark, and we're one that we have a little bit of both, but we also sometimes feel like we need to be defined by the opposite, or there has to be an equal and opposite sort of force. In this movie, when those forces come together, something more beautiful happens and there's an ascension. And I feel like this month, the sort of fear or lower frequency or shadow energy that's coming through is coming through to heal and to help you. And so rather than to run away from it, what you want to do is look at it, learn from it, and kind of come together. And also for the sort of shadow forces in your life, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a workplace. If there's a possibility to bring that energy up, you can do it. If it doesn't want to be elevated, then it's okay, you can move on. But I do think that integration and elevation are really key places to focus energy rather than divisiveness, which is something that we've seen a lot of in the world. We're more similar than we are different. So find a way to find common ground and ascend. For families, this could just be, like different generations, different opinions, different politics, all sorts of things kind of coming together here. But I think the important thing is to look and see what do we have in common, and also what they were showing me is that there are some that they had an energy come through that said, I've only known dark, and another one only knew the light. And the one that only knew the light was telling me not to judge the sort of darker energy, because it said we were splintered, we were lost and kind of went in different directions. But they were siblings, sort of. And so if you can look at anything around you as something that's there, that's kind of just expressed itself differently, but maybe it's from the same soul family, it becomes easier to not be afraid, to not judge, to not feel. You can observe and decide if you want to engage with the energy and give it its own chance to elevate and find its way if you need to. But there is a lot of sort of like a commonality that I was saying. We're all connected. We just took different paths. Some of us splintered. There's a chance to come back together. There's a chance to go higher. But in this dimension, in this planet, it's all about choice. So I guess my question to you is, what are you choosing to do with your time, with your energy? How do you want to affect the people around you? Because integration and elevation are coming through. People from the past are coming through. You get a chance to heal. You could fight if you want as well, but it's really hopefully a chance for you to resolve. That's really what we try to focus on here as light workers. Rebooting your mind, going back into what's going on up here. Reboot, release anger, and instead create, champion, and I would say also allow for new things to come in. Open-mindedness is so important this month. In fact, I wrote here, imagination is the key to basically move forward and unlock the portals. There's a lot of portals. There's ends and beginnings. In order to be able to go through these, though, you have to understand, like, what do I want? What am I capable of? And you're sometimes limited by your imagination. So don't limit yourself. And I think this is the single best thing that we can give to children, is the idea that anything's possible. What do you want to do? Like, set them up in their power, but you can help them be realistic with setting goals, but they shouldn't be limited at a young age. What do you really want to do? What brings you joy and power? Let them go down that path, let them explore a little bit. But as adults, we should also be able to kind of play around a little bit. And I was seeing like a spectrum of light or a spectrum of emotions. So don't be afraid to explore that spectrum and allow yourself to, just like music, if you just play the same chord or the same key, or you're just kind of in a monotone, it's not very interesting. But when you start to add some variety and some movement, it becomes much more harmonious. So I want you to try different things and imagine that your thoughts are like music, and you want to compose some variety. You can have some repetition if it's positive and it's reinforcing. But if it's constantly the same sort of tone or the same thing, you're not really experiencing, you're not really shifting, you're not really changing. And just like an album, you're allowed to go through all of those different spectrums. We can't deny ourselves certain things that we feel, whether it's euphoric joy, a sense of sadness when something goes away, or all the different things that are coming through. That's how we're kind of making sense of things. What we choose to do with the feeling is what matters. Stress is kind of like a choice, a reaction to an external stimuli. So what's going on in your mind, in your heart, in your energy? This month, it's really a chance for you to kind of think like, I see that. I'm not judging it. I observe it. What is it teaching me? What do I want to do with it? And how can I change now based on what I'm seeing? Relationships, again, I think if I had to kind of summarize what's really important this month for you, I think relationships are going to come back. So what you feel in yourself is going to kind of factor into how that person is going to react to you. And what my guides were showing me is that we're all kind of the same soul energy. So if you approach that person with love and show them the possibilities, then amazing things can happen. Treat those that are in pain or in the shadows with compassion, not with judgment, not with fear, not with anxiety, just feeling like there's always the potential for them to grow and to evolve. Shine a light, show a new path. This is really important for children. I mention this from time to time. I believe that kids have an amazing capacity to surprise adults, and that if given the right circumstances, they can blossom. Even if they've had a sort of troubled past, a lot of times it's because they haven't been given the support that they need. But as adults, the same thing happens. So in whatever relationships you're in, just give some space for growth, allow for that person to show up, and rather than going in like with fists, kind of open your heart, open your mind, and see how they show up. If they continue to come at you the same way, then you know that they're in their own cycle. And I almost put like a broken record here, but I realized like most people watching don't even know what records are anymore, younger people. Back in the day, literally grooves were on sort of like this, it was a disc, basically like a compact disc, but it gets scratched and it would, sometimes you just got stuck and it would just play the same thing. And sometimes our thoughts are that way, sometimes our hearts are that way. And it was vinyl, I couldn't think of what it was, but yeah, little grooves in vinyl. And again, it was inherently flawed because it gets scratched, and over time, sometimes you couldn't hear the same way, sometimes you couldn't see it the same way. So imagine this month that you're not going to just be playing old records in your head. You're going to create something new. You're going to carve out a new path. You're going to try new things. You're going to change your tune, your sort of mental tune, and thinking of something that is more harmonious than sort of discordant, if that makes sense. Okay, so there we go. A lot to think about, but remember that the past is there to help. The echoes are coming through to mirror that people in your life are ready to heal and to be healed. Your job this month is to integrate, elevate your thoughts, and to focus and explore where you want to go next. You are creating. The momentum comes from the decisions in each and every moment. So as we take a look at the cards here in a moment, let's see how you can really embrace those moments, create that speed, that energy, that momentum, and make some wonderful things happen, okay? Let me just organize all the cards here, and then I'll turn the camera down. We'll get started. I'd like to welcome everyone. I forgot to say that at the beginning. If you're brand new, you're in for a treat today because we have a lot of great energy coming through. And I think one of the themes today really is about healing and releasing and moving forward. So let's get started, okay? All right, let's get started, everyone. We'll begin with the catalyst this month. And so we have a card here which kind of can be a reconstructing or destructing force here. We have anger, rage. I mentioned before that anger is an interesting sort of energy. You can use it as a motivation. I think it's normal to see things in the world and feel a sense of like, I want to change this. This isn't the way it should be. If you can take what really is the core of anger, which is passion. I feel passionate about that, and it creates this feeling of anger in me. And then kind of have an action plan for how to do something about it, then it can become a constructive force. If you simply feel the anger and let it seethe, and then kind of like start to act out because of it, then it becomes like what we see here, more of a destructive force. So you don't want to go from anger to rage. You want to go from anger to insight, to maybe being inspired to action. So you have a choice this month to react differently. And you might also be facing someone who has that anger or that sort of feeling of resentment. And so your job as a light worker, your opportunity as just a human, is to try to transmute the experience a little bit and show them a different reaction and see how that affects them. So I think, again, your chance this month is really to try to let it go and not feed that. You want to kind of go with the reverse. If you're feeling the anger, though, think about, what can I do to change this? Instead of, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. Back to sort of like the broken record. Instead, think, I'm angry, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to allow this to inspire this. Sorrow, anger, frustration, it makes for great art. It also can be a great way to motivate. So sometimes, I know in different parts of my life where like a boss or a friend or someone said you can't do it. For me, it makes me think, well, you don't think I can, but that's your perspective. That's not my truth. I'm going to prove you wrong by just being successful and making this happen on my own. So I find a sense of sort of, it inspires me. It may deflate me in the moment or kind of push this fire. Do you ever feel the heat when someone says something mean to you? Kind of it flushes through your body, right? Sometimes you get sweaty. Sometimes you just feel that fire. So you want to take that fire and think, okay, what am I going to do with that? What am I going to do? And how can I make that motivate me and take my power back and dismiss that and kind of do something with it? So use the fire. You feel it in your body sometimes, and then do something good. Don't put more kind of like dragon breath out there. Not that way. Instead, use it like as imagine that you're Vulcan or Hephaestus sitting there and kind of creating something new. You're at the forge, and you're going to use your fire to create. So that would be my advice on that. Let's take a look at all the cards here. At the center, we have the Eight of Swords. This is really interesting. I always like when they put like birds in the suit of air. So with this Eight of Swords, we see someone that kind of is in a no-win situation. A lot of times the Eight of Swords is someone that's blindfolded, but with this Eight of Swords, it's actually about maybe speaking before you have all the facts, or being kind of pinned into a corner and almost being set up to say something that you don't need to. So I would say this month, really research before committing to something, before saying something. If somebody is trying to convince you to do something or say something that you don't want to do, you could say, no, I need more information, or I need more time. Or you can say that, but this is not my decision and I want that to go on the record. So protect yourself. What I'm seeing here is a misuse of speech, or someone that's trying to kind of put you in a position where you don't have all of the facts. So education is really key. Standing by what you believe in is really key. And communication and transparency is always the way to get through the Eight of Swords. It's usually just a lack of information or fear of finding or seeing that information. So yeah, free yourself. And it almost looks like a bird cage too. I really like this, the way this is, the more that I look at it. So notice, however, that there's no door on this one. There's no, that final sword is missing. And with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith illustration of this, you would see like someone with blindfolds, but they can find their way out of that. So yeah, I identified it earlier. The deck is this. It's on my website, by the way. I saw some questions there. So anyway, with this Eight of Swords, give yourself permission to get out of a tricky situation. There is a way out, as we see here. It could be simply pushing it back to the person and saying, well, I'm not comfortable doing this. Are you? Do you want to go on the record? Or I need some more information? Or why do we have to make this decision today? Be sort of like interrogate, be strong, stand up for yourself, and only you can put words in your mouth. So there you go. I feel like you definitely have a way to kind of counteract that. And of course, right on top of that, we have the strength card. So this is about standing your ground. And also, if somebody feels like they're intimidating, remember, in this deck, notice how this is a harmonious card though. Usually we always see a human kind of going against the beast and being able to win them over. It's usually a woman too. With this one, what we're seeing is we don't have to fight. And that's what I was saying at the beginning. You don't have to fight. There is no domination in this particular spread. You're seeing each other as equals. And you're calling that other person out too and saying, maybe you have a different title, maybe you're different age, but whatever you're trying to put over my eyes, I'm not going to, no. Put it back in their court and ask them for a better solution. In relationships, this is really about just making sure that you're standing your ground, that you don't let anybody put you in the corner. I was thinking now of Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in the corner. But yeah, with this, it's basically nobody's going to make me feel less than. Nobody's going to allow me to sort of feel like my word, my perspective doesn't matter. So stand your ground, but you don't have to argue. There's a lot of peaceful ways to sort of convey that strength. And I think that's what we're really seeing with these two cards here. And deep past, we have what could be influencing this energy. Since many of you are watching live, you might be going through some of this right now. We have cards of basically family here and community. In the deep past, we have the Empress card reversed. And in the recent past, we have the Six of Cups. So Six of Cups can be best friends. It can be children. It can be people from your childhood. This can be a mother, an authority figure, a boss. So, this could be boss and coworkers. This could be mother and siblings. This is a close dynamic to you. And I think that for some of you, you're kind of being pushed in the middle here, or maybe you've lost a connection. You might be the outsider in this particular family or community situation where you feel like nobody's looking at me, nobody's seeing me, nobody's listening to me. And this is where it's sort of like, well, you have to just find a way to communicate, stand up, or just be your own person. We're not defined at a certain point in our life by our family, because at a certain age, your parents, your grandparents pass, you're alive. It's just you and your siblings perhaps, but at the end of the days, it's just you looking at your soul and your life. So this is a chance to sort of get back to the big picture, which is, what are you trying to do? Why are you focusing so much on them? And if you are trying to do things in your life, what they think matters less than how it's helping you, how it's, kind of pulling you further down your path. Empress card in reverse in the deep past is about standing up for yourself. It's also about not letting people sort of continue to kind of helicopter in. So whether it's a boss, a mom, a friend, and they kind of pop in and they try to help you. But what happens sometimes is it can plant a seed of doubt in your mind that you're not able to do it yourself. So my message to you this month is you can do it. Maybe people in the past have made you feel self-conscious or have made you feel uncertain of your skills or abilities. Probably it was a projection. We were talking about the theater of the mind and what you're putting out there. A lot of times when people say that to you, they actually feel it about themselves. So it wasn't really about you. You are actually more strong and equal to this person than you might think. And there's sort of more equity between the two of you. And so let it go. That was their perspective. That was their projection. That was the past. What we're seeing now is a chance to sit at the table and have your own seat, have your own point of view. And if you want to speak up, speak up. It's your time. You've earned that opportunity as well. Okay. And with the Six of Cups, by the way, there's some great energy around this. It can portend a few different things. First and foremost, it could be a chance to reconnect with friends and people from the past that you've just kind of been missing. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone. They probably miss you too, because it's in the recent past here. If you're feeling bad about something that happened in the past and wish that you could maybe take something where there was something left unsaid and really just allow for the healing to happen, that's what this month is giving you a chance to do. And maybe all that happens is there's healing. It doesn't mean that you're going to reconnect with an old flame or anything like that, or that you're going to forgive someone that hurts you and it's all going to be better. But what you can do with that is the cycle can be broken. You're not going to be holding on to the anger. And you may still be working through things, but this month it's basically about acknowledging that I need to do better on this. This is inhibiting my personal growth. The sooner that I can look at this, the better that I'm going to be able to negotiate present and future relationships. Therefore, I'm going to start. So all you have to do is start and come at it in a non-combative way. These are very friendly cards. This is the kindest strength card I think I've seen. And this is a very sort of communal Six of Cups where I'm getting equity across all of this. So you can do this. You can do this. All of this is going to help open up abundance because we have the 10 of Pentacles in the crowning position, really auspicious placement and also positive card for the 10 of Pentacles. For you, this is saying that when you really embrace your self-worth and the skills that are inherent to you, great things can happen. It's also showing the pressure that some of you feel from friends and family to achieve. So I have complete faith that you can do whatever you put your mind to. I hope that you're doing it because it makes you happy. So this is a chance to get real with like societal pressures, peer pressure, family pressure, and think, am I getting lost in the mix? Because with this being at the heart of the spread, I just need to make sure that you're always kind of taking a bird's eye view. You need to go higher. That bird is stuck. By the way, I mean, there's nothing on top of that cage. It's a perceived cage. So you can always release the cycle that you've created or that others have created for you. There's so many opportunities here and there's a lot of love and support. So when you get on your path and really embrace your power, great things are going to happen. We have a good card in the top position here. It's a good time to overcome financial burdens that you might have or to ascend to a higher level financially because that's your crowning card. Part of the way that you can do this, again, is by taking power back. So if you're not making the decisions, if you're in a relationship and someone else holds the checkbook, this is your chance to have equity with that. You should be looking at finances. There's no reason if you're partners, that's part of the game. We have Judgment here as well in the near future. So Judgment is a powerful card, but again, the power sits with you sometimes. Have you made the decision to move forward? Are you ready to step into that spotlight and do what you need to do? Are you ready to let something go? Judgment is a death and a rebirth card. A lot of times we have to sacrifice one thing to allow for the birth or genesis of something else. So it feels like the main thing that's kind of sitting squarely in the middle of October, and if memory serves, I'll have it ready for tomorrow, but I think it's around the 14th that retrograde kicks in. You really need to have your mind made up by then so that you can enter into the energy of retrograde, not trying to start something new, kind of just releasing. The other thing with Judgment is for some of you, there are a few cards for me that can show death and rebirth. For some of you, there might be a major decision about your health or the health of a loved one that you need to look at. And this is usually a very serious card. So you want to take your time and make sure that you have all the information at hand before you do that. It could be an elective surgery. For some of you, there might be someone in your life that's going into hospice or end of life care. Judgment is a card where you want to just kind of, everyone needs to be on the same page with that. The good news, though, is it's really close to a card that shows major changes in your life. So Judgment and then the World. And the World is exciting because that's about, hey, I'm going to do this. It can be an announcement. It can be dissemination. It can be a new job. It can be basically just really embracing the next phase of your life. So maybe all that's required for you is to say, what am I waiting for? What are you waiting for? So that's kind of my rhetorical question out to you. Whatever it is that you want to do next, what are you waiting for? What do you need to do to make that happen? Okay. Sometimes it is just a decision. For me, part of the reason that I put dates on the calendar to show up and meet with you guys is so you know when to show up, but it also tells Spirit, on this date, I'm reading for this sign, siphon in the energy and the sort of messages that I need. That way, whatever I receive that day, I know I'm going to do it. In your life, if you just put a date to something or make a decision, the universe starts to open up for you. So if you were trying to decide, I need to get a promotion by December of this year or next year, you start to look at things and basically do things in your career, in your life that will communicate that and open up those passageways. If you don't, it's kind of like just hoping that things come your way. We have this gambling card here in Destiny. You don't want to gamble so much with that. You want to push it out there and say, no, the only gambling I'm going to do is that I believe in myself and I'm ready to go forward. There's always a slight risk, but I'm not going to just throw the dice and see what happens. I know what I'm trying to do. The timing may be a little bit different. Some of the opportunities that come my way might be unexpected, but I'm not just completely throwing everything up to fate. We're stronger than that. So what I want you to do is really have a clear picture of what's coming next. And I think I kind of glossed over the message here, but one of the things that I did write here was set your intentions, and then you stay open and you see how is it going to manifest. So you have to have at least that intention or that idea of where you're going for it to be an effective and hopefully a quicker and less painful journey. Okay. As we look into your ego this month, there's work to be done, but a lot can be done. I've been going through my own Five of Wands energy over the past few weeks, and it can be really exciting. Like, it can be super productive. What happens a lot of times with Five of Wands is the day gets past you. You might have 15 different things that you're trying to get through. If you push through it and really kind of push into the Five of Wands, it leads into Six of Wands, which is success. So you have to do the work. You have to push a little bit this month, but it will pay off. So my advice to you is don't dismay, don't delay, and most importantly, decide what you want. That's going to be the definitive factor here. So, all right. Then we see the Six of Pentacles here, which is about balance. It's reversed. So for many of you, what we're seeing here is love, because that's really what's illustrated in the photo here. So are you at a place right now where your relationships are suffering, where your work-life balance is out of whack, where maybe you've been just actually putting so much in one area or the other that you feel like there's nothing left? This is a chance to set those priorities straight. If it's been relationships and they're keeping you from studying or working or feeling fulfilled in other parts of your life, then you pull back a little bit. If you're working and you don't have that, this is a chance to balance those out. Now, from a financial perspective, we have a kind of interesting connection of cards here. I have two really, really positive cards here. Your outcome, by the way, is King of Pentacles, and we have the Eight of Pentacles. I'm sorry, the Ten of Pentacles in the crowning position. This card is the Six of Pentacles in your environment is saying, don't say yes to everything. And if you are smart with how you kind of choose your time, your energy, and your opportunities, you're going to have more than enough. In fact, for many of you, you can see growth from the Ten of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles. So smart choices, saying no, having proper boundaries, and then putting work-life balance into its proper place is going to be important as well. As we look at hopes and fears, also possibilities, we have the Page of Swords in reverse. So for some of you, this is kind of, we see him going back to the drawing board here. The Page of Swords it can be a very, very powerful card because it's about how you interpret, but also how you deliver. Your voice is powerful this month. It's not the highest court card. The King of Pentacles is. But your directness can be sort of your secret weapon, because what we saw here is that people may not be expecting you to come forth and do something at a certain time. So pick your moment to shine. And we have that here as well, right there, the spotlight on the Judgment card. And sometimes it's not the one who talks all the time, but the one who, when they do talk, it's amazing. And I feel like you could have a spotlight moment where don't be afraid to say something. It could resonate with the crowd. People may have been waiting for you to say it. And as is so often the case, it often takes one to create energy, movement, a momentum, as we were talking about earlier. So your voice matters. Be direct, be succinct, but don't be cruel. And because this Strength card is one that is not about trying to dominate or to try to make someone feel bad. So let go of that. There is a way to be direct without it coming across in a negative fashion, and that's what you want to kind of balance out this month. Your outcome card is great. We have the King of Pentacles. In the upright position, there's not a lot to say that's bad about this. Sometimes when it's reversed, there's a caution of not being too sort of focused on yourself. But what I see with this one is a chance for you to share your wealth, share your experience. Some of you might be mothers, fathers, or just at a point in your life where you want to take care of yourself later too. And I feel what you're trying to do now is kind of build a legacy. The legacy could be monetary, but it could also be spiritual. It could be something where you're creating a change for the world. So my question to you, again, which is going to help you make the decisions that are right for you, is what is your legacy? If you were to leave the planet now, what would it be? And how would you change it? And if you really had your way, to kind of make something happen, what would it truly be? And as I said, across all this reading, it's moment to moment. So now's your chance to steer the ship in a different direction. If you're ready for a new job, this portends really good things, but it might be one where you have to go and find it, because we didn't get like an ace or a page. We see a King of Pentacles and a decision here. So you have to make a decision to possibly go after something new, but I see movement happening there if you want. If you want promotion, if you want recognition, this is also about declaring that, putting that into motion. This can also be about creating a contract, but make sure this contract is edited and it's to your liking. That's why this card is reversed, okay? If you're looking for love this month, I like that we have the 10 of Pentacles. This is marriage. This can be a card of connecting with somebody. And in this case, it could be an earth sign because we have the King of Pentacles. The only thing that I see here is, again, making sure that communication is open and fluid and not negative, and that the power dynamics are pretty equal. You could also have a Leo coming into your life with this. Now, if you're in an existing relationship, everything that I just said also makes sense. This is a chance to remember, hey, we're in this together. I love you and you love me, and we're really trying to support one another. It doesn't matter who makes more, it doesn't matter who's older, it doesn't matter whose family is more established, we're equals. So this is about evening out the scales across the board. And that's also what the Six of Pentacles are saying here in your environment is equal. And love, using love as the common currency and common denominator. Let's go ahead now and expand this and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each one of these cards is going to have multiple meanings. So give me a second here to take a drink, and then we're going to look at that. Okay. As we look at your health card, we have my outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. Notice how we have a moon on this as well. And whenever I see the moon in tarot, a lot of times it's showing us things that make us scared, make us uncertain. It's also kind of reminding us that these are the things we need to look at. So this is your mirror this month, and it's saying, if there's something going on in my life, how did I call that into being? Is there a person in your life that you've sort of continually said yes to when you should have been saying no to them? Is there someone who, even though you knew you could do something, maybe you continue to let them step in and have the power? This is your chance to sort of go within and say, no, I'm going to be stronger in those areas. I'm going to stand up. Are there other areas of your life where you just feel like there might be I would say maybe something that's you're uncomfortable with or uncertain within that you need to sort of release, so that what you're instead projecting in the future would be a sense of calm, of assuredness, of understanding who you are. Basically, the more you don't need or want someone, the better the partnership will be. I know it's kind of crazy the way the universe works there, but for you this month, I think it's really about looking at environmental things that are going on and thinking like, is this helping me? What have I done to contribute to it? How can I make this better or release it so that something different can come in to my life? Let me look really quickly at the cards. I think some of you are just being called to pay closer attention to your health. This is a card of not paying attention, and this is definitely a health-related card. So it could just be creating a new routine, one that feels good, listening to your body. If you have a pain or an ache or something that's off, get it looked at. This is basically those two cards together just saying, acknowledge that. With the Empress card in the deep past, more movement is really important. So just make sure that you're getting enough. Working out, physical exercise is going to be key. And with the King of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles, I would say the other thing that I'm looking at here for you is just what your diet is like. A lot of times, unfortunately, the King of Pentacles card can indicate going to excess. So just make sure that you're not going to excess, not treating yourself too much with too many treats. And I think that's going to be key. Overall, pretty good cards. And I think that the main thing to focus on, as I've been seeing here, is really emotions and patterns this month, if I had to kind of summarize how you could be healthier and happier. All right. Let's look now at your wealth card. We have Lady Venus here. It says downloads and understanding. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. So I mentioned that earlier, I don't receive in just one way. I receive in a myriad of different ways. So for me, and this is in wealth, so this means you might start to get ideas while you are walking the dog, taking a shower, sleeping, reading cards, reading a book. Downloads happen all the time. The important thing and the powerful thing is to record them. So what I do in the morning is I have my phone by my bed, and whenever I remember something, I just kind of tap it in. And so all of the messages for today, I was tapping them in here. I can't see it because it's overexposed, but I basically put them into my phone. Or you can do a voice memo, or you can have a little journal and scribble it down. A lot of times if you're half asleep, the scribbling doesn't make sense. Just a fair warning that I've tried that. But the downloads are happening, and I want you to pay attention to them and don't dismiss them. This actually, these last 3 cards that were in the original sort of channeled messages, the portals that are coming through can be subtle. Your imagination is helping you kind of imagine what can happen. And you want to be able to kind of like explore these ideas. Don't dismiss them. A lot of times you're like, oh, that was just a dream. I never think that. I always try to think, wow, that was an unusual dream. What did that symbolize? What did this do? How is this going to relate to today? And then I kind of keep it in my, the back of my mind, and I see how it plays out. And if I get an idea and I think, oh, that'll be great for a project, that'll be great for a video, I can put this in a book, whatever, I record it. I remember an interview from Sting once, the musician, and he said he's got this journal. All his songs kind of come from this big journal. Most musicians do this too. Taylor Swift does the same thing. So if you wonder where they get all this stuff, they're just walking around, scrambling some eggs, taking their dog for a walk, washing their hair. All of a sudden they get an idea, they put it down. So I'd like you to start to record your dreams, your ideas. You can use little cards like I do. You can use your phone. I do a combination of digital and manual. For me, this is powerful because it forces me to kind of like make it succinct, make it simple. And if you can fit an idea on a card, it's usually fully baked. If you can't put it on a card, it needs some work. You need to kind of keep it to like 10 words or less. At that point, you actually have something. So if I can't fit it on a card, it goes into the recycling bin. And I try it again, okay? So with respect to wealth, I mentioned there's a decision for some of you too, because we have the judgment card. So it could be like, do I want to stay? Some of you might be really successful, but it might be sort of this question of how did I get here and why am I so tired? Success doesn't always equal happiness. So go to a sense of fulfillment. Maybe you're drawn to start a family. You want to spend more time with friends and loved ones. There's some choices of work-life balance, and that really needs to be brought into the fold. Ultimately, you may be deciding to be self-employed. King of Pentacles here. So I like that a lot, actually. Let's look at we were looking at health and wealth. Let's look at love here. It's interesting because there's a kind of a balance between your career and your love life this month, I would say even just your family life or the key relationships that are around you, because if you're not feeling that sense of connection, or if there's discord in that, it's sort of hard to focus. So I think no matter what, you're going to have to pay attention to the balance that we're talking about. But let's focus specifically on love. We actually have expression coming through the arts. It says, express yourself through creative activities. You might just need a way to channel the energy that you're feeling right now. And one thing I was talking to a friend with the other day is that we can take energy from the first 3 chakras, which a lot of times we just play out in a relationship and use it for something else. That flush of energy I was talking about when you're angry, the same sort of passion that you feel towards a person, you can also feel towards a cause. So just like anger can kind of come through and create this sense of I need to do something, joy, passion, love, lust, all these things can also create a passionate sort of inspiration for you that you can put into something that you care about. So it doesn't have to just be expressed from person to person. You can take love and go and create a beautiful flower garden. You can create love and put it into the house around you. You can put love into your own sort of energy system by taking care of your health, by cooking. Cooking is another way that you can do that, and sharing that love with someone else. So what I'm seeing for many of you this month in relationships is channeling not necessarily so much into someone as into something that you love, and then expressing or sharing that with someone. Maybe you could do that activity together. So it's less about the physical, which it looks like for some of you already exists, but it's more about like, how can we elevate that? What else could be here? If you don't have the physical, it might be also about, how can I find another outlet for something since I don't have that person in my life right now? But I'm seeing other activities to balance it out. The other thing with this card that I'm getting is just as a psychic download, separate from the meaning, is to be creative in the way that you're communicating with people in your life. A lot of times it's, we saw the direct card. If that doesn't work, one of the things that you can do this month is to try to playfully help them see it from a different perspective. So this is really saying, be the diplomat, be imaginative. There might be another way to get someone to see something. And don't be afraid to go down that path as well. Looking also at love here, I think we are the relationships cards, like with judgment here. I think one thing that's important is that you don't have to judge others. They don't need to judge you. What's important is to know where you stand and what you want to do. This is where you can actually be much more powerful with the judgment card. It's like, I know myself. I know this is right. I'm ready for this. Do you want to join? Are you part of this? That's a more powerful sort of thing. If they don't, that's their choice. And you release judgment about that. So this is really about just being clear and firm, and allowing people to sort of make the choices that they need to make. And that's their choice at the end of the day. Finally, as we get into destiny, this is an interesting card for this. Like I said, I think we're more powerful than throwing the dice. I think that there's, like for me, I like the energy of the Fool, which is risk, but it can be calculated risk. And so what I think would be good for you this month is to set everything up. And then at a certain point, what I sometimes even think in my own head is, I've done everything I can. Now I'm ready to let the universe show up. I've done my part. Let's see where this takes me. And I feel really good about it. And I'm ready. Like, my advice for you, if you're thinking of something new, if it's like proposing to someone, if it's releasing a project, if it's about asking for a raise, whatever it is, whatever your sort of announcement coming out or revelation is, believe it. Always know that there's something that might, believe it, see it, trust yourself. Yes, there's external factors. You can't predict everything, but if you feel good about it, chances are other people are going to pick up on that, and they're going to be excited too. So not a moment before you feel good about it, but after you feel good about it, then it's okay to let go. And the dice will probably be in your favor then, because you're not really taking a risk, you're just releasing it. So calculated risks, but not unnecessary risks. Make sense? And never sort of like just throwing something out and hoping for the best. You have to feel it. So I think do a little bit of soul searching. And if you don't feel good about something that you're going to say, do, or commit to, then you need to research it. And that's what this center part was. Then ask for whatever that is that you need, and you'll be fine. Okay. So by the time you kind of like let it go, it should be a surefire thing. Okay. That's what I'm feeling anyway. All right, let's go ahead now and review everything. And then we're going to go a little bit deeper and look at the soul, look at how we can help you with your strength, help you make your decision, and help you get into the abundance that I'm really seeing here in this spread. Okay. So let's see, we're going to start at the beginning here. The first message that came through with Spirit was that we are influenced by, but not sort of like defined or isolated by these past experiences. The past is just there to kind of give us a platform that we can jump off from, but it's not going to be there forever. It's basically just something that was. To that end, bless it. I know that's hard. You don't have to forgive everything, but if you can see how there was a blessing and how it has set you up to be the strong person that you are today, well, then it actually was a blessing, even if it was painful and not so fun to go through. Then release it and say, I don't want to hold on to this. I'm like really sick of processing this energy. I want to let it go, and I want to see what can come through. We are constantly in a state of creation. We are creating tomorrow today, right here and right now. I had a yoga teacher once who told me, like, don't worry about the future. It's happening right now. Like this moment that just happened, now it's the past. Now you're creating the next moment. Like stop worrying, just make smart choices. And that inspired me to talk about this today. Once we embrace that concept, then you're creating momentum. And again, if we go to the etymology of it, it's really about movement. But if you look just at the word itself, it literally has moment in it. So it takes us from one moment to the next. Each little decision that we make makes the next decision or moment a little bit better. Redefine yourself. Step into the energy that is really the phoenix. In some decks, you will see a phoenix with judgment. And so that's kind of being supported with this message here. The next big thing that came through was to kind of look at what you're thinking in your head. Imagine that it's an attic or that it's a theater. If it's a theater, what's playing on that reel? What are you projecting out to the world? Is it clear? Is it all over the place? Kind of like clear your mind, clear your thoughts a little bit. If you're starting to see or hear echoes from the past, it's okay, because we're going to be entering into retrograde real soon again. Yay. And with that, that means that there's a chance to clear the past. So all this is an echo. It's not there to hurt you. It's not there to haunt you. It's actually there to help and teach you. And the moment that you look it in the eye, the moment it kind of evaporates and it's like, okay, you've learned your lesson. You know what you need to do. I think the important thing is all these things are reflections. And once you know that, then you are free, basically. You can start your soul work there. We'll look at that when we do the soul path in a moment. If there's anyone in your life that's going through a painful situation, or if you yourself are going through that painful situation, treat yourself with compassion, treat the other people with compassion as well, especially if they are young. Shine a light, show them another path, let them show up differently. I talk about my dog sometimes. He's now sleeping in the corner. I'll bring him up at the end. But Apollo is a rescue. I got him when he was 2. He's about 5 now. When I first got him, he would hide under my bed or hide under the chair, and I would never see him for like a week or 2. He was just hiding from me. I couldn't get him to eat for like 3 days. I could get him to drink a little bit, but I had to really kind of coax this cute little puppy that you see now out of him by showing him, hey, this is different. This is a new reality. It's safe here. You get food. You've got lots of toys. I'm not going to yell at you. People in our life sometimes need the reset. He still has the shadows and the echoes from the past. He gets nervous if there's a fast movement or something like that, but he's changed radically. And it's kind of blossomed into this little loving creature. So I've seen it with my dog. I've seen it even in myself, like when I had experiences as a kid where teachers didn't support me, and then I moved and I had this new experience. So I always want to kind of say, like, give yourself, give others a chance to grow. You never know what's possible. That's really what we're talking about here, integration and elevation. So we were talking about the movie, The Dark Crystal. This is your chance to sort of take opposing forces and create something higher, brighter, and more elevated. Even the very last Star Wars did a little bit of that, where we saw, like, well, I'm not going to spoil that one, but it is about sort of like combination of two forces in making something better. I think right now the problem with the present, and also just one of the challenges with living in this dimension, is that it is binary, splintered, and polarized. And I think that we're starting to see more people that are not wanting that anymore. They even identify as non-binary. That's showing that we're starting to see that we don't have to just be defined as one thing or another. We can actually combine yin and yang, all essences, all sort of the whole spectrum, which I talked about later. So feel free to kind of play around with possibilities. Reboot your thoughts, release your anger, and instead create something new. Champion other people. Love is the language of the universe, and it is the most powerful energy that you can kind of connect with. To avoid kind of just throwing the dice, set your intentions. Explore possibilities. Listen to your dreams. We saw the download card here. It's going to come in the strangest ways. Play with all of those different possibilities, and know that variety creates interest, which builds momentum, and that kind of takes us full circle to what we were talking about earlier. I'm kind of harping on all of this because October is a month of ends and beginnings. Imagination is your key. So if you think it's possible and you give it a shot, it probably is. Channel your anger or any lower frequency energy, for that matter, into passion and a desire to create, to change, to move. And I think that's going to be really key. This is a month where awareness and awakenings are going to happen for many of you. And for some of you, you're going to awaken to the fact that you're more powerful than you thought, that you're on more even ground than you thought. Maybe you're recognizing the power in others. Good. That's what 2020 has been about in a large way, is kind of like awakening, empowering, and reducing and removing those old cycles. Empress card reversed. You've got this. You can make it happen, even if in the past someone made you feel like you couldn't. If you are someone who tends to nurture or to want to help others, focus more on yourself, let other people come to you. Maybe you can kind of reduce some of the habits of needing or wanting to make everything better for everyone. It's not your job. Let them experience the ups and downs and make their own decisions. Six of Cups. There could be something really great to celebrate this month, by the way. Could be a wedding, could be a new job, could be releasing something big in your life, whether it's like selling a house or releasing a project or something like that. But I like that we have like Six of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, Judgment, and the King of Pentacles. These are all really good cards, zigzagging between the past and the future. So I feel like you're in a really good energetic sort of trajectory. So just go with it this month. But it is important, in order to get that King of Pentacles or 10 of Pentacles and King of Pentacles energy, you have to know, I'm ready for it. I know I want this to happen. Let's do this. And that's really what Judgment is. For health matters, it's about making a decision that feels best for you. Explore all the options. Speak up. It's important if it's your own health. Work hard and make sure that you have proper balance in relationships this month. And that's really what those two are saying. Literally, this is your environment and this is what you can do, and a lot can get done. And we see with the King of Pentacles that this work is going to pay off. Speak up. I mentioned that a way to sort of get through any conflict, I forget what sign it was, but you want to speak openly, speak often, speak early. And so the Page of Swords is about making sure that there's no breakdowns and that you just get to the point. And then again, with the King of Pentacles here, I feel like there's some really great opportunity and movement happening for you this month. Don't be afraid of what's happening in your life. It's there to teach you. What I was basically saying, the stuff coming from the past is an echo. It's also a reflection. Once you understand how you're impacting those things in your life, you can basically get rid of both the ghosts from the past and maybe the annoyances in the present, make the future a lot better. And that's what we're looking at with health. If you feel like you need to talk about something in your health, talk about it. Go to a doctor, pay attention to your body. That was the other big key message. There were others, but you can listen to what I said earlier. Downloads are happening. So for timing is what I really get when I'm looking at it here in this sort of like recap. So if you want to do something, there's a point where you have to jump on that connecting flight, or you're not sure when it's going to happen again. Make the decision. Your mind, your soul is going to lead you in that crystal clear perspective of where to go. So be clear in your decision, listen to your intuition, and make it happen. Feels like there is there's a time component that matters here. There are different ways to communicate with your closest relationships. So try the direct path, but there could also be something where I feel like if you could get someone out of their element a little bit and into a neutral ground, or have fun, maybe even literally go to a movie. Unfortunately, with coronavirus, this is harder. So it might be more about changing the topic or changing their perspective a little bit, being creative, being diplomatic. That's going to matter. And that's going to help you out there. You don't need to gamble. This is really just about a calculated release, like I said. So be clear on what you want to do and know that there's no risk once you're ready and once you feel confident on that. It's really just a chance for people to see your value. It's always worth taking a risk on yourself and going after something that you believe in. Nothing is 100% sure bet, but you can set it up so that there's a lot less risk and a lot less uncertainty, and do everything that you can and then let it go. And that's what we really see with this. So let's get into the soul path. I want to make sure that we have enough time to meditate. So we'll be looking at past, present, and future. Let me just clear my throat here a little bit, and then we will continue. All right, so as we look at the past here, what I'm seeing here is how to get your power back, how to feel like sort of you're on equal grounds. And if there's anything here that you need to bring awareness to, this is what I want to focus on. What is it around power and awareness that matters most? We have the Knight of Cups here. Okay, it's interesting because this guy's literally kind of like, it looks like he's throwing the cup out, but he's not. He's actually receiving the sort of energy and the influence. So this could be it's kind of like calling in what you want. So back to my dog, before I adopted him, 2 years before, I did a powerful visualization right before I went to sleep, where I kind of reached out into the cosmos and said a prayer and connected with his energy. I waited until I got an internal calling, until like the judgment card happened for me, and then I looked for him. So I waited for his soul to call out to me. And he was just about the same age as like how long ago I had done it. So he was 2 when I got him. It would have been about a couple years prior that I did the meditation. So you can call your next opportunity in. You have that kind of power. The waiting, that's what's kind of crazy sometimes, and it depends on how good a manifester you are. But know that you don't have to just gamble. You shouldn't. In Kundalini Yoga, there's a meditation that you can do when there's like an expecting mom to call in a high soul. You can do that with anything in your life. You don't have to be a mom, a pregnant mother. You can just be using your divine feminine energy to create something and really infuse it with love and with light. If you're going to send out a resume, meditate on that and think, I'm the one, you want the, like put all this positive energy into it, and then also express gratitude towards that person and then send it out. Better than like, I hope you like me, click. You want to put a little bit more of confidence, a little bit more appreciation, and really feel that connection. And call also in that higher experience. So as you're meditating, think to yourself, help me, universe, find the best possible use of my skills, an environment that brings me joy, a place where I feel like I'm actually making a difference. Help me really get on that path. I think that's going to be key. So elevate and own your power rather than just being like in Vegas, pulling the wheel of fortune and hoping that it works. No, the wheel of fortune, you actually are spinning it and moving it. And there's much more power to that. Give yourself a chance to be happy, by the way. That's the other thing. It's your turn. So if you've been in a place where it's been really difficult, you've been through a relationship, a breakup, or you haven't felt like you've gotten what you needed out of this one, it's your time to be happy now. So make room for that. Stand up for yourself. That's why we saw the strength card. Open your heart. Heal your heart. Judgment. Let's see what this one's about. 6 of Wands. Love it. All right. So you are already on the right path. You are capable of doing something amazing. We see a spotlight moment happening here. This mirrors that. The only thing that could get into your headspace or hold you back is trying to specifically do something for these people because they want it done. The 6 of Wands can be a pressure card. It's not always seen that way, but it can be. So if you change for the sort of to make people happy, like kind of like a celebrity mentality, like if I do this, will they love me? Then it's not going to be as powerful as this is amazing and I have to share it with you because it changed my life. That's not needy. That's exciting. I want to hear what you have to say. I don't want you to just do something because you want me to do it. This is why my channel's not as popular, because I could just do love readings and I'd be very, very popular. But I'm doing what I really feel connected to and what I feel like you could benefit from. So this is where I understand how the 6 of Wands work, but sometimes it's like you can also attract the right kind of energy. So more isn't always more. I want you to really do what feels right, and the right people will come to you. That's kind of how I navigate forward. And I think that's what we see here. So who are you? Where do you stand? Are you doing it for yourself, for the greater good, for your soul's path? What's your purpose? Know your purpose. And if you want to do something mainstream, there's nothing wrong with that. Just really kind of figure out how to do that. Your intention will bring the power in. All right, let's get into the King of Pentacles and then we'll meditate. So what can you do to balance out what we saw here? Because I'm also curious about the work-life balance. So how can we bring both abundance and satisfaction? 6 of Swords. It's hard for many of us right now, right? For some of you, this could be showing that you've lost somebody, because this is a card of loss. It could show the separation that we've been forced to deal with over 2020 in varying amounts. The card is reversed, which is showing an easing of that. So for some of you, that could portend good things. For the rest of us, it's just sort of growing comfortable with ambiguity or with this sort of ebb and flow that we're seeing with energy this year. And with being able to kind of spend time or with people that we love, not being able to travel. Here's the other thing with this. If we're directly connecting it with the King of Pentacles, it's time to let something go. This could be exciting. So if you're If you are wanting to sell or distribute or share something, it's done. It's done. That's what this is telling me. Or you need some space from it so that you can get perspective, because you're either too far on the weeds and you can't tell that it's finished, or you can't tell what to do next, or simply it's done and you need to move on to the next thing. So for some of you, it's like, why can't you let go of something is what you want to focus on this month. And I think for many of you, it's maybe because it's safe. It's brought a lot of comfort. So I think what you have to kind of balance out is a risk assessment. When can I do this? This card can also indicate sort of monetary risk. So you shouldn't put yourself in a precarious position in that respect, because we're still in a recovering economy. So just kind of figure out, how much will it take? When can I do this? How much do I need, etc. And again, the way to sort of mitigate that is simply to have a good plan. Okay, good. So overall, I like what we see here. We're going to meditate, but I just want to review these cards here. So it's your turn to be happy. That's really what I see the more I look at this card. Allow for happiness to come in and call in a higher love or a higher opportunity. This one, you don't want to gamble with so much. It's more about, like, I'm ready to receive love and abundance in all forms. Success awaits. Make sure that you're doing it because you want to do it. Make sure that you're accomplishing what you need. Don't necessarily play to the will of the masses, because that public sort of love can wax and wane. But if you keep your integrity and you do what you love and it always feels right, then you're on the right path. And finally, it feels like it's just time to let some things go. And this will open up the next portal. The Judgment card and the Six of Swords. There's at least one thing that really is ready to move in. And I feel like there's another thing that's ready to kind of like move out. So the King of Pentacles could be a big opportunity for you. So in order to do that, there's a trade-off though. So look at the trade-off, see if it feels right for you. Mostly I see really positive cards in front of me. So I feel like you've got an exciting month. Retrograde's going to be pretty kind to you for the most part. And it's really about the emotional sort of things that we talked about today, particularly echoes from the past, any sort of fears or anxieties that you have, not feeling like you're defined by the past, all of that that's kind of going to hold you back or push you into the next trajectory, catapult you. Like I said, the momentum, if you can go moment to moment and think, if I do this, then this will happen, and I'm just kind of get in an exciting flow. I had like 5 things that I checked off my list yesterday because it was a super productive day. And so that's where the 5 of Wands can really, really go faster and faster and faster. All right, let's go ahead now and we're going to meditate. And at this point, by the way, if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, I'd love for you to do that. It helps show YouTube that you saw something of value here, and helps me get discovered. So I appreciate that. And it costs nothing. So thank you in advance. As I look at the cards here, I feel like the Judgment card speaks to me the most. I really want to help you get into that sense of understanding what you want. So let's do this at the dawn of a new day. And let's imagine that the spotlight is a ray of light that's going to be shining on you and opening up opportunities, okay? So I'm going to play this singing bowl here. And in just a moment here, actually, let's set up the meditation first. So I want you to take a nice deep breath with me. Close your eyes. And imagine that you are sitting out on a cliff, looking out at the new day. And before the sun is starting to rise, I want you to take a moment to do that mental housekeeping that we talked about. Imagine the theater of your mind. What are you projecting out to the world? Is there anything that you want to let go of? Is there anything that you want to kindle? Is there anything that you really feel proud about? Whatever it is that you are feeling either inspired to embrace or to release, I want you to make a commitment. And with this next breath, see that happen. Imagine that all the thoughts start to clear until there's just one goal, one dream, one thought that is the most clear, the most persistent, and the one that you want to push out into the world. Before the sun rises, I want you to kind of shine this up into the sky, almost like a spotlight. You're going to call out to whatever it is that you're trying to create and say, I'm ready. I see you. I welcome this in. So if it's success, it could be that. It could be like being able to achieve something. If it's love, you could see that partnership. If it's healing in a relationship, you could see the love getting into a place that is back to where it used to be. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, I want you to kind of push it out with your heart. Imagine that there's this beautiful green beam of energy that's going out into the sky, and you can see almost as if the projection is happening from the heart center, this truth, this new reality. And now imagine that as the sun starts to rise, that a beam of light meets your heart beam, and it starts to help you manifest this. You start to feel like it's taking on a new life, and you see a spectrum of colors come through. It's not just the green. You see all of the colors of the rainbow. And you realize that that's starting to wrap itself around you, almost like a warm blanket. You feel all of this beautiful light, spectrum of light going through your body, and you realize your power in this moment. You can create anything, you can make anything happen. And I want you now to really allow this to go through your mind, through your body. And we worked with the heart a little bit. Now I want you to focus on the third eye. And imagine here that you could place a crystal of light and push out the projection now of the future that you saw. Put it in the third eye. Imagine that the light is going out, and it's going to create not just one, but many different sort of spectrums of light, so that people all over this planet are going to receive your energy, your intuition. You're going to open up your opportunities. So you won't have to gamble. If anything, you'll have more than enough of what's coming through and what you're trying to create. So allow your light to broadcast as I play the singing bowl, and then we'll rejoin afterwards. Take a deep breath. Imagine now that on the canvas of the sky that was dark once, you see light, you see energy, you see your future painted. And that's something to remember, that the unknown, the space between, even when we go to sleep, just the darkness around us, it's not always bad. It's sometimes that area, that space that you can create. So I want you to take time this month, every day, and imagine how you can go further into whatever it is that you're trying to create into your world. And remember, every moment gives you a chance to get closer to that dream. And no matter what you did with the last few moments, doesn't matter. You're making better decisions now. You're making empowered decisions. So keep moving the needle forward. Keep making the decisions that matter. Know that your decisiveness, that your trust, that your faith, that your vision is what actually will help other people want to connect with you as well. One last breath, inhale. Take your hands, rub them together. Put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Feel that heat and warmth that you've just created, and also feel what you opened up earlier as you connected to the sun. Feel that same energy connecting to your third eye, pulling your passion into your insight, allowing you to take action with whatever you feel, with whatever you see this month. And welcome back, everybody. Let me take a moment here just to kind of go through how you can connect. And I just want to say thanks because this gives me a chance to just talk directly to you for a second. First of all, it's good to see you. Always great to start the month off with your sign. So thank you for showing up. For anybody that was kind enough to do Super Chat, when this is on replay, I'll post a comment, a pinned comment, and thank everybody separately. I can't do it when I'm doing this because I go into a channel and it takes me out of that. If you have a moment, please consider hitting like and subscribe. That will, like I said, just help the channel grow. So I appreciate you. I'm going to mention a bunch of things. They're all on my website. So I'm just going to give you the address first. nicholasashbaugh.com is my website. And I'd love for you to connect with me on social media. All these links are actually up in the corner. And on Instagram and Facebook, I use I use the stories quite a bit. And what I'll do with that is actually put a link to the upcoming videos. So definitely like me there. My username is Nicholas Ashbaugh on all major social media except Twitter. Same thing here on YouTube. So I'll use stories on all of these just to kind of help you know what's coming next. And if you'd like to support me month to month, there's a couple ways you can do that. Actually, you can click the join button here on YouTube. You can also join me on Patreon. And both of those will allow you to, on a month-to-month basis, kind of get some membership perks. When I release my book later this fall, I will do a Q&A with members, taking questions from members. So that's one thing that I plan to do specific to Patreon and also YouTube members. And just know that you're also helping me continue to get the supplies like the one we saw today. If you'd like to do a one-time contribution, by the way, you can also find me on PayPal. It's paypal.me/Nicholas Ashbaugh. And as I mentioned, Twitter has a slightly different username. It's just @Ashbaugh. So that concludes everything for October. It was great reading for you today, Aries. Apollo's sleeping, so we're just going to let him sleep for now. I'm going to be cognizant of that, but he's with us in spirit, and I'll bring him out for the next reading. Thank you so much, everybody. I will be back again on Monday, same time. We'll be reading for Taurus, and the updated schedule is on my website. Feel free again to subscribe and opt into bell notifications here so that you know what's going on. And YouTube changed things a little bit. So you can also sign up for my newsletter, which is on my website, because they're not emailing necessarily all the video updates out. So it's good to kind of follow me on a couple of platforms to make sure that one of them comes through. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again to Ryan and Maria for helping me out today. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Have a great month ahead. Okay.